Before you write this off as a wild conspiracy theory, just look at the line on this map. So this is Britain's oldest ancient power grid and has been named the Spine of Albion. And tech giants are quietly building their multi-billion-dollar data centers directly on top of it. It's not a coincidence. It's an intentional smokescreen from the elite to hijack the Earth's true natural energy. For decades, concepts like ley lines, dragon paths and fairy paths have been heavily dismissed as a fringe New Age theory. But what if that dismissal is intentional? A smokescreen used by the elite to quietly build their infrastructure along the Earth's true power grid. When we look at the Spine of Albion, Britain's most major ley line, along this exact meridian, massive data centres are mysteriously clustered. It seems the creators of these modern day power structures are fully aware of the magnetised energy here. When we look at the data infrastructure in Winchester, this is built directly upon the old King's Court, a site steeped in ancient legends of King Arthur. Or when we travel north to Dunfermline, and the Edinburgh major data centres sitting in perfect alignment with these sacred sites. But it is not only the locations of these data centres, but the names of the companies, such as Equinix, D2NA, SunGard, Athena, 6 Degrees or Pyramids Business Park. All these names have an esoteric meaning directly connecting to these alignments. Is this coincidence or a connection? As a lot of modern day centres are clustering directly along the ancient Spine of Albion ley line. The Spine of Albion is a ley line running from the Isle of Wight in southern England, running the entire length of Britain, passing through major cities and sacred sites. This was once used as a trade and pilgrim route when England was called Albion. It is also known as the Megaliths line and popularised from researchers Gary Biltcliffe and Caroline Hoare. The ley line maps an alignment of over 100 ancient sacred sites, including Neolithic stone circles, holy wells, hill forts, abbeys, which were strategically built on this axis by ancient Britons. This alignment acts as a geomagnetic ley line where hidden pathways of earth energies and magnetic forces flow through this landscape. The Spine of Albion passes through ancient capitals such as Dunfermline, Carlisle and Winchester, which are three of Britain's most historically significant cities of kings. Each served as a major power base, royal residence or final resting place for monarchs, with Winchester being referenced to as a spiritual centre with a nexus point of ley lines on this sacred site because of its connection to King Arthur and the Round Table. Is it just by chance that next to the Great Hall is the data centre for Hampshire County Council, which they intentionally placed on this sacred site? Another data centre 5 miles from the Great Hall in Winchester is the IBM Centre, which moved into Hursley House in 1958 within the Hursley estate. This 100-acre estate functions as a major R&D hub where engineers and developers create enterprise software, including the core tech that underpins global ATM and banking transactions. Because of Winchester's deep ties to Camelot and King Arthur, IBM's computer scientists have famously used Arthurian code names like Merlin and Excalibur for their local software and server data systems for decades. Is this purely just by accident? Is there something more happening here? The third is Crawley Court, which is also 5 miles from the Great Hall. According to dowsers and researchers, this data centre was built on an old ancient manor. When you look at these three locations, they are very similar in distance and form a scalene triangle, like we discussed in the previous video. It would seem that the data and information is being pushed towards Winchester Royal Court, where the data and frequencies are being moved onto and along the Albion line. But this is only one section of the ley line. You will find similar patterns all throughout, with this ley line passing Birmingham and Manchester City, Carlisle Castle and up to Scotland, passing major intersections of ley lines. The sacred site of Dunfermline Abbey in Scotland, which serves as the final resting place for Scotland's most legendary monarchs. So this is a major ley line, and 2 miles from this sacred site, directly on the line, is the Sky Carnegie campus, which serves as a major regional contractor and customer service centre for the media and telecommunications company. By passing through these ancient sites, the tech companies are harnessing the Earth energy and are using these frequencies to move their data and signals. The reason our ancient ancestors built megaliths, stone circles and ancient churches along these energy nodes is so they could use this energy for healing, their connection to the divine, and even traverse through these lines. They were access points. Before religions became corrupted and inverted for the use of power, these sacred sites would have been used to channel energies in a completely different way. What we are having in the modern age is these ley lines are being used as physical manifestations of the cloud, where physical data centers are being placed next to or in alignments to work through these sacred land energies. One of the main things needed for data centers are power and water. They need flow, movement. Before the industrial age, ley nodes and sacred sites would have been a lot more visible, also with these earth energies being a lot more active. When tech companies build a data center, they look for stable ground, cool climates, access to national power grids, and proximity to massive fiber optic network backbones. So understanding ley lines and the sacred geometry of the planet does make sense, so signals can travel and flow easier. Although the tech giants that control these industries can come across cold and isolated from the natural world, they actually fully understand this occult knowledge behind sacred geometry, earth energies, and use it for their own agendas, knowingly tapping in to these telluric currents or earth frequencies to stabilize quantum computing or cool servers. Ley lines often trace ancient trading routes which followed the easiest geographical paths through valleys and plains. Romans paved these paths, but it predates the Romans, and the ancient Druids fully understood this geomagnetic grid. Victorians laid railways along them. Today, telecommunication companies lay fiber optic cables right next to those railways. Data centers follow the fiber optics, and fiber optics follow the ancient ley lines. So if this is the case, why are these ley lines dismissed as just a theory or some new age waffle? Before the time of Alfred Watkins, who coined the term ley lines, you had William Stukeley, who was a master mason and was fully respected in his circles. But there will be a lot more knowledge prior to his discoveries. Although the 17th century antiquarian William Stukeley did not invent the modern Spine of Albion ley line, his 18th century work on British antiquities, Druids, and early landscape alignments laid the historical groundwork for modern Earth mystery researchers, including what Bill Cliff and Hoare gave in their research. If we map the UK fibre optic backbone alongside ancient trade routes, you will see that modern telecom companies did not reinvent the wheel. They laid their fibre optic cables directly alongside major A roads and railways, which themselves perfectly overlay ancient Roman roads and prehistoric trade tracks. Before the Romans built over these tracks, they were used very differently amongst the Druids. Ancient civilizations built sacred sites near major clean water sources, rivers, springs and high ground because they were utilizing the Earth's energies. Coincidentally, modern national infrastructure, high voltage grid lines and canal side fibre optic routes follow these exact same geographic pathways. There is also the security and isolation factor, because data centers require massive, flat, highly secure and isolated plots of land. Historical country estates, old abbey lands and ancient parish borders fit this profile perfectly, allowing tech companies to build invisible, windowless server fortresses hidden away from city centres. Also, the shortest, flattest path through Britain from south to north hasn't changed in 5,000 years. These are factors to consider and logical to how these data centres are created. But all of these are still ancient pathways and have powerful earth energies resonating through them, which the tech companies would be well aware too. Modern skyscrapers, data centers mimic the ancient sacred sites and have often been built over the top of this sacred geometry. To our ancestors, standing stones were the ultimate technology, hubs of societal connection, information and power. Today, data centers serve the exact same purpose, but serve as hubs that transmit signals to our phones. They create our digital network. They are our modern temples, holding the collective memory and consciousness of humanity. Whether powered by dragon energy or the national grid, the geography of power remains the same, with a new circuit that has been input. It was Alfred Watkins who started the bigger interest in ley lines. But Alfred Watkins was no mystic. He was a businessman, public official and magistrate. He moved in the exact same social circles as the elite. So it was very likely that he was given information, or at least clues, which inspired his study into ley lines. Maybe he was even funded. The shortest, flattest and most resource-rich paths across Britain haven't changed in 5,000 years. The same natural corridors, water sources and isolated high ground that guided ancient builders to establish sacred sites are the exact parameters tech corporations use today to build highly secure, water-cooled server fortresses. So the ley lines haven't vanished. They've simply been remapped into high voltage grids and fibre optic cables, with historic country estates, old abbey lands being the perfect camouflage. They provide the ultimate security and isolation. So are all these data centers only sending data through wires and code? Or are you unknowingly participating in a massive digital ritual tapping into the ancient veins of the earth? Thank you for watching, everyone. Please subscribe if you haven't, or you can join the members section where we have lots of exclusive content. See you in the next video.